Hi, this is Elizabeth, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Baxter Colburn, host of Verse of the Day here on Public House Media. Thanks for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with that episode, I hope you'll come and check out my show, where I take one Bible verse every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I provide practical examples of what it can be in your life. We have guest speakers that join the program every Wednesday, and there's always something new to learn about your walk with Christ. You can stay up to date with Verse of the Day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or on publichousemedia.org. Thanks again for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
If we understood the power of our thoughts, we would guard them more closely. If we understood the awesome power of our words, we would prefer silence to almost anything negative. And in our thoughts and words, we create our own weaknesses and our own strengths. Betty Eady. Welcome to Choose to Rise, where today we're going to be talking about challenging your negative thoughts. We're going to be talking about challenging our negative thoughts. If we understood the power of our thoughts, we would guard them more closely. If we understood the awesome power of our words, we would prefer silence to almost anything negative. And in our thoughts and our words, we create our own weaknesses and our own strengths. If you do not yet understand the power of the mind, if you do not quite yet understand how things work with your thought process and how what goes into your head is what feeds your heart, is what goes into your head is what feeds your body, and all the decisions that we make in a day can all be snowballed into going up a steep hill or going down that steep hill. And today we're going to be talking about how to challenge our negative thoughts, how to push them out of our heart and our head, and to really change what we think, change what we believe, change up what is directing our life in this purpose. So if you, thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome to Choose to Rise. Welcome to Public House Media. If you want to connect with me more, you can head over to choosetoriseup.com, check out all the content there, but most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and fill out the connection form. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you a part of our community. One of the recent listeners, Miss Noelle, she writes, "This woman, Kim Meyer, has taught me so much. She's a leader, she's a warrior, she's a mom who believes in God and is true to herself. I look up to her very much. I really appreciate her posts, and I am pretty sure I love who she is." Well, thank you, Noelle. I am so glad that you appreciate Choose to Rise. I'm so glad that you found us here on Facebook and on the live shows and you listen into the podcast. I really appreciate you leaving a rating and review on my Facebook page, but also anybody that leaves a rating and review on iTunes and all that there. I will give you a shout out as well. All right, let's dive into it. So let's challenge our negative thoughts. Your negative thoughts are very powerful. All thoughts in general are very powerful, whether they're positive or negative. But the ones that are negative seem to have the most negative effect on us, right? Think of a snowball rolling down a steep hill. The more traction it gains, the more it will likely turn into an avalanche of snow. The same is true for our negative thoughts. The tiny moments of I can't, I suck, I just wouldn't, I'm not able to, I maybe could. All of those negative connotations start as a snowball. They all start small in our world, but as they continue to build, they can start to have massive impacts on our life. Negative thoughts can affect your entire day and in your entire month and your entire life as you move forward. Negative thoughts completely erode your self-esteem. Negative self-talk and beliefs about who you are and yourself as a human being can be detrimental to building self-esteem and confidence. These thoughts are like a bully in your own brain, somebody you can't get away from because you are the one person that you're going to spend your entire life with. So why beat yourself up? Why continue to talk to yourself in a way that is not encouraging? If you are allowing yourself to talk to yourself in a way that you would never accept from somebody else, if you had a little TV screen above your head that had all of your self-talk going in it, would that be something that you would allow someone else to say to you, or that you would allow yourself or somebody else to say to a child, or you would allow yourself or somebody else to say to another human being? if the answer is no, then you shouldn't be saying it to yourself either. Perhaps the strongest beliefs that we have around ourselves and our whole life is making the bully even stronger. Anxiety-filled or depression-fueled behaviors can also be an example of how this bully works, making you feel less out of control and more stuck in your symptoms. However, you have an opportunity to get out of that. You have the opportunity to move away from those types of activities, the negative self-talk, the negative vibe that you have going in you. And you can get rid of a lot of your own anxiety and a lot of your own depression by dealing with the situations that have caused you to think that way and changing up your mindset. I have a dear friend who has been going, I know she's the sweetest person in the world, the most giving person in the world, the most amazing woman in the world. And she has always had a negative self-talk. She's always thought less of herself. The comparison game is real in her world. And she recently has decided that, well, through the work of personal development, being a part of the community that she's a part of, having people constantly pour belief into her, she's finally decided enough is enough and I'm going to get help. So she's working through things where you can work through things on your own with, working with personal development, working with filling your mind with good positive content like these podcasts or books, working with mentors in the way of that kind of thing. But you can also, it's no shame in getting help from a therapist, talking things through, learning strategies that can help you change your heart set and your mindset that will help have positive impact on the rest of your world. Seeing her go through that and watching her flourish now is such a beautiful thing. She's more confident, she's more aware of her self-talk, and she's able to change up all of those things that help her live a happier and more fulfilling life. Just to see her walk into a room now with the confidence she has, how she lights up the room, and knowing that that's always been inside of her, and now watching her allow herself to show it to other people has just been the best thing ever to watch. So how can we move things? How can we change? How can we challenge those negative thoughts that are going on in our hearts and our minds? Well, it's simple. You have to take it one step at a time. You can't just flip a switch and make it happen. It's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort in order for you to make sure that you are switching things off. Because when you talk negatively and you have these thoughts, you're creating little grooves in your brain for things just to start clicking through things. But and your brain to just think faster, that's just how your brain works. So it's going to take time to reroute things in your brain. It's going to take time to create new grooves in your brain and make that path the least of resistance for yourself and to kind of shut off the other ones. And the negative things never really go away. There's always going to be those paths there. But the more often we use the positive paths, the more often we're going to have good things in our hearts and minds. So using these thought challenges to help you move past the negativity, help you move through things, and kind of think about the thoughts that are happening in your head. So here's a couple questions to kind of 10 little tips, or I don't know if there's 10 of them, but tips here that can help you challenge the thoughts that come into your head and kind of taking yourself out of the moment and putting yourself at that 30,000 foot view and analyzing the thoughts that are going in your mind. And when you start doing these things, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some moving in a way that's going to have to be maybe belabored in a little bit. But the more you do them, the easier it will get, and the more you'll just automatically do something, and it'll start to work for you. All right. The first question is this thought always true? Is there a time that it wasn't? So thinking about what you're thinking about in your brain, like, is this true? Am I really fat? Am I really an awful person? Am I really, XYZ? Whatever it is, the negative thing that's going through your head, is this always true? Is there a time that it wasn't true? Is there a time that I wasn't XYZ, right? The second question, how likely is this actually going to occur? How likely is it that I'm going to fall off this mountain? How likely is it that this ship is going to crash? How likely is it that I'm going to lose my job? How likely is it? And if you think about a lot of the things that people worry about and a lot of the things that get people all anxious and worked up over are not actually going to happen. But we get ourselves in the should, could, maybe world, and then we get caught up in all the things that could, should, maybe happen, and they never really actually happen. So it's fear. It's 100% fear. It's false evidence appearing real, and it's something that's going to keep you from doing a lot of amazing things in your life. So the third one is, what advice would I tell a friend if she was thinking this? So if you are going through, some negative thoughts in your head, like what would you tell a friend who told you that she was thinking this about herself? How would you respond to that friend? Because you can be your absolute best friend. So tell yourself what you would say. Number 4, how is this thought serving me? Is it more of a bully and is just trying to be mean to me? Or is this actually going to get me someplace? Now, there are some times when we need to reflect and make changes in our world because we are not going the direction we need to. And so thinking about our thoughts of serving us. Is this thought serving us? Is this idea serving me? Is it going to help me get to my goals, or is it going to derail me and get me into something that's different? Sometimes there's shiny objects out there. Sometimes there's things that look good, but they're not necessarily in the direction that you are going. And so, whether it's a negative thing or just a shiny object that's going to derail you from going where you want to go, think about that. Is this thought serving me? Are these actions going to serve me and getting me closer to where I need to go? The next one is, what are some smaller reasons why, or evidence that shows it's not entirely true? Now we could say, like if you in the world of weight loss or body image kinds of things, which is a lot of the things I do with women. We work on finding health, we work on finding confidence, we work on finding strength in body and mind, and we work on financial freedoms in what I do as a coach. And there's a lot of we always say things like, don't always say, but there are things people say, come to me and say, I'm just so fat. I'm just so heavy. I'm the largest I've ever been, or I feel like da, da, da. And if we really look at the evidence around us and says, you have actually lost 25 pounds. You have actually made great gains over the last month. You may not look like that, or the mean girl is still in your head when you look in the mirror, but you have made great strides and what you're doing is working. Keep going, right? You have to look for the small reasons, the why you're doing something. You have to look for the evidence that shows whether something is actually true or something is just a bunch of malarkey that's in your head. The next one, am I jumping to a negative conclusion? This kind of goes along with the fear thing. Are you jumping to things that are not necessarily true? Are you looking for negative conclusions because you are afraid of what might happen? Are you thinking about things in a negative way because you are not sure of what's actually going to happen? Uncertainty a lot of times fuels fear. And then instead of uncertainty could be fueling opportunity and looking at it as a positive direction. Our natural tendency is to look at it as a negative situation. So flip that, see where you can go with things. And the last one I have for you today is this interpretation, or is this a thought based on logic of facts? So am I interpreting what someone is saying? Am I interpreting what someone has done? Am I interpreting something that's happened to me as a good thing or as a bad thing? Am I looking at it as I'm sure she meant that I was, or are you looking at it as the actual fact of something that happened? And when you can you use these challenges, use these questions to challenge your thinking, to really evaluate how and why you're thinking these things, then you can make changes in order to have a more positive outlook. So is this thought true? Is there a time that it wasn't true? How likely is it this actual situation or thing is going to occur? What advice would I tell a friend if she was thinking this way? How is this thought serving me? Is this just a bully situation, or is this someone that's trying to be mean to me? What is it? What are some smaller reasons, or why the evidence that shows that it's not entirely true? Am I jumping to negative conclusions here, or am I thinking this through? Is there an interpretation, or is this a thought based on logic or facts? Try these things out. See what you can do with your mindset. Plug yourself into positive people. Be a part of something encouraging and supportive. Who you spend time with, what you surround yourself with is really what you begin to think. When your thoughts become your words and your words become your actions become your beliefs, it's just one of those things where if you can always take the time to walk that journey of 1,000 miles, whether you're going in this direction or this direction, you get to choose. And that path of 1,000 miles is probably going to be all squiggly and moving all over the place, because you're going to take some steps that are going to take you in the wrong direction, but you can always take the steps and move to the right direction for you, whatever that looks like. So thank you for joining me today. If something I said inspired you, if something I said today uplifted you and is a positive thing, I encourage you to head over to Choose to Rise Up and fill out that contact form, or head over to Podbean or iTunes and leave a rating or review. Tell a friend about Choose to Rise. We would love to encourage more people and have more people a part of the tribe and the communities here. So If you can head over to Choose to Rise Up and find more of my past episodes, and leaving that rating review helps so much. I love connecting with everyone, and I'm so glad that you joined with me here today. And I hope to see you here again very soon. Bye.